Hello, hello, hello. It's your new day with Donna Reiners and Dr. Cami Owen, where we solve all the world's problems, or maybe just one. And maybe it's yours. In our 30 minutes, we talk about your emotions and mind and how they tie into your body and spirit. We want you to renew and restore yourself in a world that wants you crazy. And sometimes we even talk about money. Introducing your hosts, Donna Reiners and Dr. Cami Owen. Hello, hello, Donna and
Dr. Cami.
And we named the last show and this show, we're talking about personal things. Last show was really focused on Cami because I wanted to know some things, and it's relevant to our network as well. So I'm going to segue into that. You can just watch the last show.
What was the mystery thing?
We're not going to go back. Oh, the mystery question. I had a mystery question.
You did.
So James growing up Muslim
in Libya,
fleeing the country. Mm-hmm. So he was all in. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's all in.
Yeah, he was 16 when he came here. He
wasn't an American Libyan.
Yeah.
Okay, so here in this country, he takes interest in you. You get to know his family. He gets to know yours. Were there cultural challenges for you when, before or after the Great I Do?
Both. So let me just preface this by saying I think everybody's more similar than we are different.
Oh, of course.
So we're all more similar than different, but we always usually focus on the places we're different.
Yeah, and I want to thank, what's your dad's name again?
Ken.
I'm so sorry, Ken. Listen, Ken, I will just want to thank you and your precious, beautiful wife for how you grew up, this woman, because I don't think she could have married someone if she didn't know who she was. If you don't know who you are and you marry into a different faith, you're absorbed by it. Mm-hmm. But instead, it sounds like you were able to meet conflict without it being contentious. Mm-hmm. So what did it work? What was the first challenge?
The first challenge was my father-in-law and just the way he was to me, and that there was a lot of contention.
What about clothing? I'm talking practical things.
Yes,
clothing,
absolutely. It was
separation of the man and the woman. All those things.
All those things existed, and it was very, very difficult. It was the first thing me and James would have issues with, because at the time I was cute and had a cute figure.
But you're also outspoken.
I was outspopen and all the things, and
you probably had the cutest, trendiest. If you had your own phone line, you had your own swimwear.
I did. I was a fashionista back then. Yeah. On my mom's credit card, I could just do whatever I wanted on my mom's credit card.
I like them already.
Yes, God bless you. But so and at the time
which is what drew him to you, because you're cute.
Yes.
Hello, let's look at this.
But then after we got together, then how his dressing was a problem, and those kind of things started to be a problem, and I really fought that. Like,
amen.
Big time. But
good.
Sometimes I relented, sometimes I didn't. But I separated when I went to their house. I'm going to dress appropriately for their house. House. And I expected, when you come to my house, you honor and do the same. And James and I would have issues with that, because one time his dad came over to our house, and I had one of the Bibles that one of my grandparents gave me was open, and I had it on this thing.
Your favorite grandparent?
Yeah. Well, they were all good grandparents.
Your favorites.
But and he came in and immediately in Arabic said, what are you doing this with this in your house? And I don't know what James said, but I had real frank conversations with my father-in-law. I said, look, I'm not going to try to convert you, and you don't try to convert me. And then when the kids came, because James wasn't a practicing Muslim, he was just raised in that faith. He's very much like me. We could really identify together. Like, we came from pretty fanatical dads in their religion, and both of us are like,
we're not sure.
Yeah, just kind of turned off by all of it.
Yeah.
the things that we liked and that I still really appreciate about the Muslim faith and the culture, because there's a lot of enmeshment in the two.
Yes.
That there's, people think is religious, but it's really cultural, and vice versa.
Yes.
But they're very family oriented. That culture is very family. And I have a family that's very family oriented. We have a big family, and we all, we fight together and love together and everything. And
they're foodies.
And we are foodies. And that's one thing that Arabs,
it's amazing.
Arabs can cook, and they cook good food.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we had that, but there was bumps in the road along the way about us both evolving as separate human beings and then as a couple, that kind of thing. But when the kids came, that's when
you started having babies.
When I started having babies, that's when a lot of the
it
conflict,
came out.
Yes, the conflict.
What really
came
the problems could be, which you didn't know until you experienced it.
Yes, and part of that was religion and kids, and I told my dad and I told his dad, leave our kids alone.
Yeah.
And neither grandparent left our kids alone. They both would, on the slice, do their little things, hey, Saul, I want you to read this article. Hey, Saul, I want you to read this book.
Sure.
So
the competition of the grandpas.
But their heart was,
of course,
they really believed that this was required to get to heaven.
I get it.
So they really are loving.
Yeah, their motivation was from a place of love.
Yes, it absolutely was.
Sure.
And my father-in-law was very well known in the community, very well loved in the community, and all that. And he was a lovely man. He really was. And when he died, I was there right when he died, right after he died. And it just struck me. I knew he was in my life longer than he wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was very cool. But what's also cool is I've had more of a relationship with him since he's died than I did when he was alive.
Yeah.
Because he is around me all the time. And telepathy, whatever you want to call it, but he communicates with me all the time, and he communicates with me because I can get messages to his wife, who is oscillates down here in her grief that she anyway, that's a whole nother story. But his family has always opened their arms up and loved me. His sisters
Wonderful.
are my sisters, and his brothers are my brothers, a brother. So it's been a great life. We have 3 children together, and we have an amazing life together. We really do.
That's awesome.
We just celebrated this year in Spain 36 years of marriage.
That's amazing.
So we've been together 39 years.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that.
So, Donna, I would love to hear your story.
Oh, mine.
Yeah, how did you and Greg meet and all that good fun stuff?
And how much time do we have? So, my background, which we have covered before, but my background is more of parents who also did not go to church, a mother that was seeking a relationship with God, a mother who went outside the bounds of Christianity to do it, reading books by people like Edgar Casey, which is considered a false prophet by the church, but actually he was more tapped into the other 97% of his brain. That's really all it was. It was a gift set. It wasn't anything as weird as we think. It's just weird when you don't understand it.
Right.
And so any new things that nowadays probably are explained by science, which they just weren't then.
Right.
But she actually was introduced to what Jesus and the blood of Jesus through an Edgar Casey book. And she gave her life to Jesus in the from a who's considered a false prophet. So go figure. And she was quiet about her faith, but what she lived out was just loving us. She just loved, And she loved my dad, who really was not very lovable. So that was proof right there that God lives. And I grew up just searching for God. I just grew up searching for the one that introduced himself to me. I just was always on that. And my mom introduced me to God when I was 10. I must have been asking questions or something. And I can't find the letter I wrote.
I don't know what happened to it. I wish I could. I took it out of an album that had been in since I was a kid. I took it out of the album. That was a mistake. But it was a front and back letter. Dear Lord, my mommy just told me about you. And it was at 1972. I was 10. I had the date on it and everything. Front and back, crying out to God to help the people who were cold.
Wow.
Heat them, feed the people that were hungry. And it was just an innocent heart saying, God, care for all these people. Forgiving, I think my sister must have gotten married because it was forgiving her mother-in-law for slapping me.
Oh, wow.
There must have been a problem, clearly. And all these things. So it was an innocent heart. You know, love, Donna, May, Sewell, and the date, you know. I was a writer even then. And I wrote well. I could read it. And I got baptized in water when I was 15 at First Baptist Church in Silsbee, Texas, car train capital of Southeast Texas. Y'all come back now, you hear? Don't remember.
You don't
I just know I
remember
did.
Okay.
My mom came. She came. She was in the balcony. She was not going to come. She did not go to church. Church was a religious place. She came in her pantsuit and at the top watching. All I remember from that was me opening up my dress, forgetting I had money in my dress to give in the offering because I loved to give. And when I stood up, it all fell out.
Oh, no.
And so I was right at where the carpet ended and the wooden floor began.
So
and it all made sound.
Yeah.
So I don't remember anything good from the day because it was so embarrassing.
Aw.
So, which all that's been handled now, but still. Got baptized. Continued my journey, getting to know God. I'd been walking to church since I was 10. Mom never went, so I just found a church and I walked to it. And it was a Pentecostal church. And then had a friend who went to another kind of church. I mean, I just walked whatever's around. Summertime, people picked me up, took me to Touching Others Under Christ's Hand ministries, where they took you in a bus and took you to church and brought you back in the summers. And, you know, just exploring. But Mom never went. Dad never went. And so, you know, Mom was my favorite person. So it was conflict to me that my mom never went to church because I loved to be with my mom. My mom was my friend more than she was my mom, except for when she switched me a couple times, and that was definitely when she was my mom. But she was also in menopause, so she was having a moment. So I'm just giving you, you know, my dad was my wire of the highway. You know, I stole money from, it's so funny, my sister and I have something similar. She stole money from my dad, like a dime or something.
Sorry.
When they gave her a piggy bank, which she still has. And she went and told him, I got money in my bank now, because they gave her a pig without money. That was dumb. So I stole a few coins out of my dad's thing in his bedroom. Way up here, I had to reach for it. I was tall, though. And I think, I don't know. Oh, he knew I stole because I didn't put the lid back on. Or he'd have never known, because I wasn't telling him, even though I probably was guilt-ridden at the time. I'm sharing this because he did not beat me. He beat my sister with a Bible after that. Thou shalt not steal. I mean, beat the crap out of her.
Wow.
So, but he didn't touch me. He never touched me as far as I know. But he did ground me. And I think I lied to him on what I stole, thank God, because he grounded me for each, like a day for each nickel or something. So I was grounded for 3 days versus more. And I couldn't go outside the fence, and we had several yards. And I'm just sharing, it's just, I'm thinking back going, childhood is so interesting, y'all. Because, you know, when my mom died when I was 18, your childhood was over. Now, mind you, my childhood ended because my first job when I was 14, because I wouldn't buy my own clothes. And 15, if I wanted to wear jeans, I had to buy my own jeans too. So I worked I worked in Houston when I was 15 and 16, 17. I worked in the summers here. And tapped into management sets and things like that you don't know when you're a kid. You just know how to do things. And then when Mom dies when I'm 18, you know, I'm with a dad who doesn't know who he is without my mom. And he was lost. So what does this have to do with me meeting Craig? This will probably end up being in the next one, won't it? I'm so sorry. But I married the man that had become, that was a new kid at school in my senior year. We ended up marrying. We were together 7 years and got married after my mom died. And we got married, I think, because I was lost without my mom. Now, mind you, he was a beautiful person, but he didn't know who he was. He did not. And I'm not going to go into all of that. I'm not going to do any of that. But he didn't know who he was. So we ended up marrying, going to California for 5 years, still not knowing who we are. Then I ended up meeting a man who I worked with, and he paid attention to me. And I had no idea. My innocent mind had no idea he had his mindset on me. I didn't know. He was 11 years older than me. I honestly just didn't know that he was basically wining and dining me. And my husband was gone in the Philippines or somewhere. So I'm sharing this because it all comes back to not knowing who you are. Everything comes back to not knowing who you are. And it's part of the journey. And when my husband came back from the Philippines, there's some things that occurred that he discovered that he was not real happy with. And I was very contrite over, but again, didn't know who I was. So we split, and I moved out. So who am I looking for? What am I doing? I'm looking for myself. I'm looking for God. I'm looking for identity. I'm looking for clarity. I'm looking for who's going to love me. That's all you're doing. That's all the whole world, your whole life is who's going to love me. Well, at the end of the day, it's about finding ourselves, loving ourselves, right? The time we're looking for people to love us. And my husband loved me. I just didn't love me. And I wasn't willing to give him another opportunity to love me because my disappointment was too deep to go back. So I ended up hanging out with this man and then ended up moving in with him and living with him for 2 years. Well, when I started that, I said to myself, and I think I still have the journal. I still have the journal I wrote. So interesting, the things we keep. But I have that one thing, this little, and I said, if we're not married in 2 years, I'm moving back to Texas because that's where God lives.
It's true.
That's where God lives.
It's true.
So at the end of 2 years, I knew. I'm like, and he didn't believe in God. And when he told me he didn't believe in God, I thought, I mean, that was the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. I'm like, how can you not believe in God? I mean, even people who don't believe in God believe in God. I'm like, it's like, of course they believe. They use his name in vain. Of course they believe him because they talk about him all the time.
Right.
It's just really kind of funny. And so, you know, I made my escape and I left. You know, and I won't go into that. That's actually funny. But so I come back to Texas, and again, I'm looking for God. And I'm, you know, and I get in a situation where I get baptized again. I've been baptized 4 times, guys, over a lifetime. And so I end up eventually going to a church through a man who invites me to church and wants to go to bed with me at the same time, going to this church where I ended up staying for 22 years. Well, while I was there, how much time do we have? Okay, I've got time. So while I was there, I've been there for quite some time already, and I notice a man in the back who's always like this, weeping and worshiping. There's nothing more attractive when you're on a stage worshiping and leading people into worship for someone who's worshiping and feeling worship.
Yes.
You know, whether it be pain-led, doesn't matter. It didn't matter to me. I just saw someone who was expressing himself with vulnerability and freedom. But I wasn't attracted to him. I was attracted to his ability to actually express himself. I'm like, wow. And there's only a few. One day I was coming in the church. It was like 6:50 in the morning, and he is sitting in the hallway, in the hallway. And I come in and I looked at him and I said, "You're a man of God, aren't you?" Oh, no, excuse me. I said, "You're a man of prayer, right?" He said, "I am." I said, "Well, you want to come to intercession? We meet every Sunday at 7 a.m. and 4 p.m. He's like, "Sure." I said, "Great." So I took him to the...
So y'all met in the hallway too?
We met in a hallway. and an invitation. Mm-hmm. And we went to intercession. He joined the prayer situation. He was warmly welcomed. You know, we were just a real tight crew. Well, I had been working at a university, and God really called me out. He said, "Come with me." And I did not go back to prayer for about a year. Mm. Not knowing he was working out his divorce. Mm. And the pain of that, and children, and all those things that go into that, real life, and his not wanting to divorce, and all those things. So the pain he was going through, you know. So when I found out about it, all I could do was pray in agreement that there be reconciliation, because to me, the best scenario is that children and parents live together in harmony for the rest of their life, mm-hmm. Not disharmony. Not ugliness, not meanness, mm-hmm. Not abuse.
Right.
So that's how I met him in that thing. And then we have a whole deal when it comes to how we got married, why we got married, how God led us. I mean, it was a in and out, up and down, but it wasn't long. But it was very supernaturally led. Mm-hmm. And to this day, if we have an issue, we'll be married 23 years this year. When we have an issue, which if you're going to be married long enough, you're going to have some issues. Mm-hmm. Any relationship, a real relationship, you're going to have issues, whether it be a marriage or not. If you can't work through those relationships, then, you know, we go back to, I know God said. For us, it's I know God said. It's not, are we compatible? Mm-hmm. Do we love each other? Oh my God, will I die for you? Are you going to honor me? All those things. It really comes back to, for us, mm-hmm. It comes back to, we know that 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 we know, no matter what. And we've had some no matter what's come around. Mm-hmm. And we've chosen. And there's been some very ungodly, not like horrible things against each other. There's not been infidelity. There's not been those kind of mm-hmm. things where you think you could justify mm-hmm. saying, "Kiss my butt, I'm mm-hmm. out." Mm-hmm. There's been other pressures and trauma points and triggers and things of that rise up, and you have to bite your tongue, or you bite their tongue because you're so mad, you know. Mm-hmm. But we've chosen yes, mm-hmm. you know. And it's not oh my God, I chose yes. Ugh. It's not that. Mm-hmm. It's we've chosen yes.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful for the yes. And I'm thankful for every moment. And I think sometimes, because I know what I believe about life and eternity and all those things. But I can't imagine living life without the one that was chosen. That, you know, because to me, we live inside each other. Mm-hmm. When you get the revelation of living inside of the one who lives inside of you with God, and you get that with regards to relationships with people, that's why for me it's so difficult when things don't work out with another person. Because I know the reality is we're one, even if you don't want to be one, that we are. Mm-hmm. And even if you attempt to reconcile that, I think, well, one day we're going to see each other in the great by and by, and we'll see that we were always one, and we were probably very alike, and that's probably why those things didn't work or whatever, right?
And you'll probably have a good laugh about it. You remember when you could not see it. You were so blind, but ha ha ha, look at us now, you know, that kind of thing. I think it'll be that way. I really do.
I do too. And my hope is on this planet, but it's okay if it's not, because you have to have it peace. So anyway, at the end of the day, my whole life is entwined with knowing who I am, knowing the one who lives inside of me, knowing the one who lives inside of you, knowing you, and you knowing yourself enough to like yourself and love yourself in the midst of the biggest mess you could ever make, in the midst of the strongest failure you could ever face without you believing you're a failure. Because we do fail. If you never fail, you've never succeeded either. Mm-hmm. You're going to fail at things. You're not going to finish the race. You're not going to go across the finish line. There's going to be things you're going to possibly regret, but it's part of the journey of seeing who you are and why you are and loving yourself even when other people don't know how.
Yeah.
Because if someone doesn't know how to love you, it's because they, honest to God, just don't love themselves.
Yeah.
That's the real end. So you want to come over here and say hi since I talked about you? No? Well, he's our sound man and our mic man and our editing man. He's over there.
And our videographer.
And our videographer. He's a little bit of everything.
He is all the things. So, and we really appreciate all his hard work and
he knows who he
producing
is.
the show. Yes.
Anyway, it's been a journey. I tell you what, it's all about life. Life is all about relationship. Mm-hmm. It's all about love. It's all about identifying. And I know we don't have time for this, but in my heart right now, it's like I see so many wanting to identify as this and identify as that and identify as this animal or identify as this opposite or whatever. It doesn't matter what you identify as. God loves you completely unconditionally. You're already forgiven for that thing that you feel you deserve. See, choosing to identify as this or that, that's what you feel like you deserve.
Yeah.
Isn't that an interesting thought to process and make full circle in? So, love yourself enough to know yourself enough to be happy with you, regardless. And then you're knowing who you are, which is your whole journey.
Thank you for joining Your New Day with Donna Reiners and Dr. Cami Owen. We look forward to seeing you next time. Remember, we solve all the world's problems, or maybe just one, and maybe it's yours. Until soon.